السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. كيف أمسيتم؟ أمسينا وأمسى الملك لله والحمد لله، لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. رب أسألك خير ما في هذه الليلة وخير ما بعدها. رب أعوذ بك من شر ما في هذه الليلة ومن شر ما بعدها. رب أعوذ بك من الكسل وسوء الكبر. رب أعوذ بك من عذاب في النار ومن عذاب في القبر. آمين. اللهم افتح مسامع قلوبنا لذكرك. Ya Allah, please open the hearing channels of our hearts to that which reminds us of you. اللهم اجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. Ya Allah, please let us be of those who listen to the words of admonition and follow the best of them. Ameen Ya Rabbil Alameen. This is the month of Sha'ban. Jazakallah khair. And the month of Sha'ban, what is it? What does it remind us of? Of Ramadan. It's the herald, it's the announcer of Ramadan. And therefore, as Rasulullah indicated, when, for example, he mentioned that we should pay attention to the Hilal of Sha'ban for Ramadan. So he's already indicated not only by the sighting of the crescent to prepare us to gauge properly and to sight properly the crescent for Ramadan, but it's an indication that it is a preparation, a mental, spiritual and emotional preparation for Ramadan as well, inshallah ta'ala. And this is the beginning of Sha'ban, and in the beginning of Sha'ban we are starting, inshallah ta'ala, to remember Ramadan by starting, for example, these regular classes on our Tuesday classes about particularly the fiqh of Ramadan, the fiqh of the siyam of Ramadan. I mean by the fiqh, the external aspects of fiqh and the spiritual aspects of that fiqh as well, inshaAllah ta'ala. Now we're going to begin bi'idhnillahi ta'ala with that which usually most of us are acquainted with, namely the external fiqh of Ramadan, to do that in a session or two. And then when we're done with that, basically covering what is essential, inshallah ta'ala, then we begin to delve more specifically to delve in the spiritual aspects and the interdimensional aspects of the fasting in general and fasting the month of Ramadan in particular. As this month approaches, walhamdulillahi ta'ala, as we mentioned, our feelings begin to change and to remember Ramadan and to change and to modify in accordance to the exigencies of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you know, mentioned in the Quran, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions in the Sunnah the many virtues and merits of fasting the month of Ramadan. We shall mention just a couple of those so that we begin to indulge with the fiqh proper of the fasting, inshallah ta'ala, at the external level. As you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, for example, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun ayyaman ma'dudat ila ghayri dhalika min al-ayat. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He addresses the believing men and women, telling us that Ramadan, the fasting of the month of Ramadan, has been prescribed upon us as it was prescribed upon nations before us, those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent His messengers to, that some form of fasting was prescribed upon them, and it is prescribed upon us, and it is ayyam al-ma'dudat, countable days, not unlimited, not open, countable days, known and countable days, and the intent behind that is a spiritual one. التقوى لعلكم تتقون, that by doing that we benefit. And the very serious and important benefit of that is taqwa. And where is taqwa? Is in the heart. So what is Allah telling us? That through siyam, what's happening? What's going to happen? Hearts will change. It affects the heart, the characteristics, the values, the qualities of the heart will be improved, will change. We will develop taqwa. And taqwa is that special consciousness and awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we want to be conscious and aware always of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we commit sins and we violate divine norms and the norms, the divine norms of goodness and wellness on account of when we spend moments, let alone hours and days and months and years, not conscious and not aware of Allah Azza wa Jal. And therefore we're not conscious and aware of His attributes. We're not conscious and aware of His act subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not conscious and aware of His justice. We're not conscious and aware of His goodness, of His generosity, of His rewards. And then when we're not conscious of that, when we're not aware of that, like a person who is ta'ala Allahu anil anfal, may Allah be exalted from analogies. This is somehow an example that comes to my mind practically. When you're driving, and you're driving so regularly, and you forget that you are watched by somebody in a car hiding on the side. And then you forget that, and some, not all, some people, what do? They, for example, speed up. They go beyond the limits, beyond the norms, beyond the standards, beyond regularity. And then they don't realize it one day and they are caught from nowhere. We don't want to lose awareness of Allah Azza wa Jal. We don't want to lose taqwa. And when we lose taqwa, we are prone to violate norms, and to violate the norms, in this case, in our relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal, hurts us in this dunya, in this world, in our health. I would say even physical health, indeed, because dhunub have consequences, physical consequences, in mental health, in our emotional health, in our spiritual health. We are affected when we are not aware of Allah Azza wa Jal. So Allah, by His wisdom and loving mercy and divine wisdom, imposes upon us certain things to keep us aware and alert. And of that is Siyam. كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. أياما معدودات الآيات. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, many of you know, and perhaps all of you, but remember, knowing something doesn't mean we should not hear it again and again and again. This is ibadah. And even when we know it, oftentimes we know something, I know something, but I realize maybe only 20 years later, subhanAllah, upon hearing it again, and something has happened and changed in my heart and in my mind. I see in it, and I understand from it, and I interact with it in ways I was never able to do before. And Allah always, inshallah, rewards those who are consistent in learning and in paying attention and in being humble. Until when Allah knows they are very sincere, then He gives them gifts of special knowledge and special understanding and special changes in their hearts. So we know, but we need, inshallah ta'ala, to know at a deeper level and to experience that knowledge at a special level. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, as you know, حفظكم قد جاءكم شهر مبارك افترض عليكم صيامه تفتح فيه أبواب الجنة وتغلق فيه أبواب النار وتصفد فيه الشياطين. أي نعم، فيه ليلة هي خير من 1000 شهر من حرم خيرها فقد حرم. As he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in accordance to this hadith as related by the likes of Imam Ahmad and Nasa'i and others, rahimahumullah ta'ala. قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ شَهْرٌ, said he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Mubarak, there has come to you a blessed month. جَاءَكُمْ. I'm already talking about some spiritual meanings. I can't help it. And I think it's good to do that. Always directly to associate the external with the internal and not to have them compartmentalized in different compartments. This alone and that alone. They are together. They are both very important. So, he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ. And it is a month. It's a month. And he says, a month has come to you. Look at this personification of Ramadan. A month has come to you. It's like it gives you the feeling that somebody is coming, and you see them coming from far now. Ja'akum. And it's very interesting now, those of you who are learning Arabic, especially Arabic at a little bit advanced level in terms of understanding and in terms of the concept of ma'ani, wal-badi' wal-balagha. Ja'a means what? In English, how is it translated? To come. Well, but ata, to come also. Ata and ja'a is to come. Both. What was the difference? What's the difference? When do we use ja'a? When do we use ata? Subhanallah. There are some nuances, some beautiful balaghi, badi'i nuances here in the beautiful Arabic language. The ulama of the language say, rahimahullah ta'ala, that usually when we use ja'a, it is used vis-a-vis the subject of that verb when we say coming, if that is somebody animated with a soul, a person, a human being, an angel or so. Ja'a ar-rajulu, generally, ja'a ar-rajulu. But if you want to use the coming of something abstract, like a thought, you don't say ja'atni fikratun, that's improper. But you say atatni fikratun. A thought came upon me, you say ata. You use the verb ata. You don't use the verb ja'a. So something abstract, you use ata. Something not abstract, something concrete, etc. You say ja'a. Unless you want to use specifically and you intend something else of an abstract meaning, then you use ata with that person, for example. Now here, the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions the Ramadan and he says ja'a. He didn't say ata. And it is Ramadan. It's not a person. It's not an angel. It's not something you touch. But he said ja'a. Subhanallah, emphasizing this very personal, special relationship in the qalb. When the qalb of mu'min like sees, not physically, sees this month coming. And interacts and associates with this month in a way that is very personal, very emotional. So, Ja'a. And thus the mu'min ponders and like with his qalb sees this beautiful, as you know, generous, benevolent, filled with rahmah and barakah and amn and aman, heralding all of that coming close to you. When you, after a year has passed, you miss that so much. And you have gone through so much changes and difficulties and challenges. Oh, he's coming again. Well, alhamdulillah, I'm going to have that time with, you can say even him, Ramadan. Subhanallah. So, قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ شَهْرٌ مُبَارَكٌ, he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There has come to you, there is coming to you a blessed month. Mubarak. And what is barakah? What is the meaning of barakah? Not in terms of translation, being blessed. Okay, what is blessed? What is barakah? Pardon me? That which suffices. البركة عادة تستعمل بمعنى الزيادة. بمعنى الزيادة, in the meaning of increase. So, in other words, during this month, we are going to expect increase in what we desire. Increase in what we desire. In our desire for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, at-tabarruk, the act of tabarruk, seeking the blessing through something, is seeking ziyada, seeking increase in reward, in a good, beautiful relationship with Allah through venerating, respecting something that is beloved to Allah. That is tabarruk. Tabarruk is, for example, showing reverence and respect to something that Allah loves, seeking by that Allah increases us in khair, in goodness, in virtue, in nearness to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, التبرك بالنبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. التبرك بآثار النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. For example, seeking barakah through the relics of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as the Sahaba used to do, through his whatever he touched or was part of him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They, in accordance to many hadith, authentic hadith in Bukhari, in Muslim, and in others, rahimahumullah ta'ala, that the Sahaba, the companions, used to seek barakah by associating, touching, having, possessing, washing with, anything that had to do with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What are they doing? This is tabarruk. What does this mean? This is seeking from Allah increase in their relationship with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala in some way or the other through showing respect and reverence to something that Allah Azza wa Jal loves. And it is also a wasila, a means to approach Allah Azza wa Jal and to earn the pleasure and the nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, coming back to Shahrun Mubarak. This is a Mubarak month. Meaning that we are going to seek what? From Allah, barakah, ziyada, increase, betterment in our relationship with Him, and in so many ways, through our dua and fasting and so on, by showing special reverence and respect to this month of Ramadan, because Allah loves this month for us. And when we do that, Allah rewards us, Allah increases us. That's what the meaning of tabarruk and the meaning of Shahrun Mubarak. It's an opportunity for us to show more and more reverence in this month by fasting, by being in salah, by being in dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, doing that inshaAllah ta'ala with reverence and with composure and with veneration and with concentration and with disengagement from other that is other thoughts and attachments and engagements that are not useful to us, by showing special attention to this month. By doing that, Allah increases us. And that's the meaning of tabarruk. نتبرك بشهر رمضان بصيامه وقيامه والدعاء فيه وذكر الله تعالى وتعظيم الله سبحانه وتعالى وتعظيم مشعر الله سبحانه وتعالى ألا وهو هذا الشهر بالصيام فيه إلى غير ذلك. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى لنا ولكم التوفيق. افترض عليكم صيامه, says Allah Azza wa Jal, the fasting of which was made obligatory upon you. It is obligatory upon you. It is not nafila. You all know that. But we need to know the evidence is in the Quran and in the Sunnah. Allah said, Rasulullah says, it is a fard upon you. And all of you know by now, inshallah, and some of us need to know more, that it is obligatory upon Muslims under certain conditions which we shall come to later, inshallah ta'ala, with a little more detail. افترض عليكم صيامه تفتح فيه أبواب الجنة, during which the gates of paradise are open and the gates of hell are shut. تغلق فيه أبواب النار وتصفد فيه الشياطين, and devils are chained during that month. Subhanallah. تفتح فيه أبواب الجنة تغلق فيه أبواب النار. What does this mean? تفتح فيه أبواب الجنة. Well, we know it. Literally this means the gates of Jannah are open. Well, where are they? أبواب الجنة. Do you see Jannah? Have you ever seen Jannah? I wished. Some, may Allah Azza wa Jal, some people, Allah chooses them, He may give them an experience by His grace as a karama to experience something of Jannah. And some people have, especially the Anbiya. And Nabiyyuna sallallahu alayhi wa sallam not only had a glimpse of Jannah, but he had an experience of being in Jannah. As you know, in Isra and Mi'raj, for example. And even in his salah, once he's shown Jannah, and even a fruit, picked a fruit of Jannah, and he was not allowed to share it with those on earth. And also a glimpse of hellfire, a knowledge of what's in hellfire, and has seen that, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And by that Allah grants him what? What is the result of seeing Jannah and Nar? Of the results for that? Let's see if you... Taqwa. Close. You're close. Some more specific. Iman. Yes, more specific. Yaqeen. Yeah, that's al-yaqeen. Now what is yaqeen? Yaqeen is certitude. You know something to be real as it is. I don't know, 100%, no, 3,000% or whatever. It's like you know it. There's a difference between knowing something and never seeing it. And you know it is true. And you can say, I know it 100% to be true, but you have never seen it. What happens when you see it? So there is nothing more than 100%. So you invent things and you say 200% and 300% and of seeing. That's degrees of certitude. Degrees of certitude of yaqeen. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants yaqeen. Oh, don't we wish to have yaqeen? And to be in yaqeen all the time? To be in certitude all the time. In prosperity or in adversity. La ilaha illallah. To be constantly in the same condition of living and feeling like you are already in Jannah. Or you see already it is akhirah and you see hell, wal-'iyadhu billah. Yaqeen in which you regularly see Jibreel alayhi salam. That's yaqeen. Yaqeen now, regularly seeing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and knowing that, seeing him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the way it pleases Allah Azza wa Jal. So it increases yaqeen. And yaqeen is that which we seek. And oftentimes, what is one of the aspects of our lives that decreases our yaqeen? What contributes to decreasing? What contributes to probably decreasing our yaqeen? Ghafla. Ghafla is lack of yaqeen. Ghafla now, in this case, ghafla means what? Can you put it in different words? Not to be in dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because ghafla, not to remember. Not to be in dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. Internally and or externally, the more we are in ghafla, the more this contributes in developing lack of yaqeen to any of us. What else contributes to lack of yaqeen? Which is part of ghafla anyways. True, shubuhat may contribute to our lack of yaqeen, having issues unresolved properly, doubts that creep into what we know, and they introduce doubts. And when those doubts have come in, that's shubha, then some of us may decrease in their yaqeen. So we should be aware, we should avoid the environments and the conditions that generate and that create around us shubuhat, especially if we lack ilm and we lack deeper relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That could make it only worse. What else contribute more generally to our decrease in yaqeen? Lack of dhikr mentioned through ghafla. That's a consequence of lack of yaqeen to disobey Allah Azza wa Jal, and that's true, and it has actually feedback. Lack of yaqeen leads us to disobey, and disobedience contributes to making it worse, to decreasing our yaqeen, wal-'iyadhu billah, generally. Again, to be obsessively involved with dunya, with matters of this world, to pay attention too much to them, to focus on them until they become the norm. And we live in times where some of us preach that we should be involved with dunya very much. And then by appealing to certain texts that Islam is not against dunya, and this, which is all true, but the conclusions are wrong. The conclusions are wrong. Dunya is not something to be involved with intimately. Dunya, amassing power and wealth and being obsessed in pursuit of that of the consequences of that, no matter who it is, illa man rahimallah, contributes to decreasing our yaqeen, to decreasing our yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Being involved in, that was shubuhat, to be involved in shahawat now. To be involved in shubuhat contributes to decreasing our yaqeen. To be involved in shahawat contributes to decreasing our yaqeen. You know, shahawat, our drives, our passionate drives, and therefore we say dunya. Dunya is anything that contributes to making us forget Allah Azza wa Jal. Anything. That's dunya. And if it does not, and some of us fool ourselves that it does not, but if it truly does not make me forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's not dunya, even if you call it dunya. fast for the likes of As-Siddiq and Al-Faruq and Madinatul Ilm, Sayyiduna Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu ardah, and the likes, and Abdul Rahman ibn Auf and Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, and the likes of Sayyidah Aisha and Sayyidah Asma. Those were people whom Allah Azza wa Jal granted dunya, but dunya was never in their hearts. It was in their hands, and it left their hands very quickly because it was never in their hearts. So it did not affect their yaqeen as it affects most of us. تفتح فيه أبواب الجنة. The gates of Jannah are open. How are the gates of Jannah open? The grace of Allah Azza wa Jal. During the month of Ramadan, something He does subhanahu wa ta'ala as merciful grace from Him to us. And that is He creates something in the minds and in the hearts of His creation subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in space-time, I don't know. Allah knows how He does that subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the extent that the person feels, if he or she wants change, if he or she wants Allah Azza wa Jal, feels different. In other words, here Allah is saying the gates of Jannah are open for those who want. They are open for those who want. You want to work for me? You want to reach me? You want my reward? You want my nearness? You want my special love? My special hubb? My special nearness? It's all open. During the month of Ramadan, it's going to be easier for you if you want it. Ya baghi al-khayri, abshir. Abshir. O seeker of goodness. Behold the good tidings, the glad tidings, heralded to you. Come, it's your opportunity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues every day from dawn until, sunset. Every day, every day. Ya baghi al-khayri aqbil aw abshir. The gates of Jannah are open, which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps good deeds, obedience to Him. He helps us, He makes it for us easier. SubhanAllah, how many people you have known in your life, including ourselves, if we pay attention, things we can't do, we don't choose to do outside of Ramadan, which Allah loves. And during Ramadan, ajib. It just happens. There is an ijma', a consensus. يجمع به الله سبحانه وتعالى قلوب العباد في مساجده. In Fajr, in regular masajid, the masajid are filled in Fajr, in Ramadan, in Dhuhr, in Asr, in Maghrib, in Isha, and Taraweeh. In this masjid also, in every masajid, but in this masjid, I realized that people love Taraweeh, and I wanted to make it easier. But after Taraweeh, these guys, many of them, they want to stay after Taraweeh and do Qiyam. They call it Qiyam. And they stay, many of them, until Fajr. The last 10 nights, Hadith wala haraj. It's more so. Every night. SubhanAllah. Those same people, or some of those same people, once Ramadan is over, completely different. No Fajr, no Isha, let alone Qiyam. Forget about Qiyam. SubhanAllah. People who are afflicted, wal-'iyadhu billah, with the disease of smoking. During the day they say, I can't, throughout the year. Ya Latif, haram affliction, this khabith affliction of shurb al-dukhan, of intoxicating themselves. In Ramadan, subhanAllah, they don't. And other things. تفتح فيها أبواب الجنة. Allah makes it easy for His ibad to repent to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, to come back to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. He makes good things, to do good things easier. And He makes to do bad things and evil things more difficult. By saying two things first also. تغلق فيها أبواب النار. The gates of hell are shut. Are shut. You don't enter hell in Ramadan, please. Please don't enter hell in Ramadan. I close the gates. But some ibad, they develop so much evil energy that with that evil energy, so much energy, it opens the gates of hell for them. Ya Latif. وَتُصَفَّدُ فِيهِ الشَّيَاطِينَ. And the devils are chained. The shayateen are chained. What is a shaitan chained? If a shaitan is chained, what does it mean? He cannot operate freely. So Allah is saying to us, the devils, I chain them for you who want me. They will not have freedom to operate on you as before. They are chained. So, maybe in the mind of some of us right now, or before or later, well, why do some people do evil in Ramadan? That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. In Ramadan, we discover who we are. You know what it means? We discover who we really are inside. Because if the shayateen are chained, what remains as a source of evil? The nafs. The shahwa of the nafs. The nafs. So, this is it's an experiment, a scientific laboratory experiment. You have two variables that are, right, producing, affecting, mixed together, there is a result produced. You want to know the effect of each. What do? Right, you eliminate one, you fix one, you hold it as a constant, and then you change the other one. And then you do the other thing. Now this is it, shaitan and nafs. Allah tells us 14 centuries ago through Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this experiment is for you now. Now He holds shaitan inoperative. Then observe the changes in your nafs. And the result is all due to what? To the nafs. So if I observe, if I'm that seeker and I observe sincerely my nafs during Ramadan, and I see no change in Ramadan from before Ramadan and after Ramadan, what is the logical, scientific, now let's say that way, scientific laboratory conclusion? That's all my nafs. Shaitan has nothing to do with that. I used to curse at shaitan. Shaitan did that to me. Shaitan did that to me. Please forgive me. That's shaitan. I realized after this experiment that there was no shaitan but me. Subhanallah. That's haqq, isn't it? Isn't it? I discover my nafs. But if I improve, I change during Ramadan. So subhanallah, there is some khair, alhamdulillah. And now by the grace of Allah, the effect of shaitan has been rendered, inoperative. Then I'm discovering what my nafs is doing to me. Then I begin the healing process through what I learned in Ramadan. تُصَفَّدُ فِيهِ الشَّيَاطِينَ. So remember, if during Ramadan I'm still the same angry person, the same ruthless person, the same unkind person, the same impolite person, the same demanding person, the same arrogant person, the same deluded person, the same loud person, the same unkind, unbenevolent, greedy person, then it's all minus. It has generally, therefore, nothing to do with shaitan. As a matter of fact, some ulama say in the interpretation of one text in the Quran in Surah Al-A'raf that there are some evil human beings amongst us for whom shaitan becomes a student. And shaitan follows them, they don't follow shaitan. So, we have some of those ibad, wal-iyadhu billah, may Allah protect us and forgive us, have become so treacherous and so evil that shaitan is their student. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing who they are, removes his mantle of protection from them and leaves them to themselves and their own ahwa and their own shahawat and their own shubuhat. He leaves them to them, and now they are so masters of evil that shaitan simply walks behind them. فَأَتْبَعَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, and I said this ayah has been interpreted in this way by some ulama, rahimahumullah ta'ala. So this is what the essence and the spirit of Ramadan is. فِيهِ لَيْلَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ, during which there is a night that is more meritorious, more virtuous, more rewarding the ibadah during it than during 1,000 months of the same ibadah. And how much is 1,000 months approximately? 80 what? 83 or 85? 83? Yeah. Years. I think it's 83, 85 or 87, I forgot. You just do 1,000 divided by 12 and find out. Who knows to do that very quickly. 83.3, khalas. So let's say 84 or 83 and a half. Subhanallah. That's the grace of Allah. His gift to us. His gift. He created time, He created space, He created the human being, He created Jannah, He created Nar. He's self-sufficient, independent from His creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He gives gifts. A gift, one of His gifts is Laylatul Qadr. The ibadah during that layla, the ibadah with your heart, not with, with a heart that is sick and filled with ujub, conceitedness and kibr and arrogance and riya, ostentation and demanding from others and wal-iyadhu billah, has some doo-doo of us. But if those practice ibadah during that night with sincerity, with humility, with fear, with awe, with love, Allah will grant them the reward of 83 and a half years of ibadah, of ikhlas. That's a mere gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. الذي كنوز رحمته لا نهاية لها لا يعلمها إلا هو. The treasures of His love and merciful love are unlimited. And that's a gift. Nothing else, a gift. تعالى الله عن الأمثال, may Allah be exalted from analogies. Sometimes some rich people or some powerful people or some leaders or some community leaders or so, they say, one day they have a day, they give rewards to somebody and this and that. And they give a reward to somebody who did something, and that reward is sometimes is so generous that it's not worthy, the deed is not worthy that reward. It's just, a show of benevolence, a show of generosity. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is ghaniyun an khalqih. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in no need of His khalq, is in no need of anything, and He owns all creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He gives. This is of what He gives. And so He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, مَنْ حُرِمَ خَيْرَهَا فَقَدْ حُرِمَ. The one who lives through this night, therefore, and is deprived of the good in it, and the merits that are in it, and the virtues that are in it. If a person lives through Laylatul Qadr and misses all of that, just like another night, Rasulullah says, this is the real deprived one. The deprived one. مَنْ حُرِمَ خَيْرَهَا فَقَدْ حُرِمَ. فَقَدْ حُرِمَ. And how many of us live through this night and through this month unaware? Unaware at all. Just as though it is a regular thing. And some of us, even وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, may be committing dhunub during that night. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Ya Latif. And thus, this is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to behold it and to receive it with open arms of our hearts. And to take that opportunity for our dhunub to be forgiven, for developing, inshallah ta'ala, a new momentum for this month and for the rest of the year of our lives. To do that. And you know, if you're struggling in seeking Allah Azza wa Jal, you know in your life sometimes how challenging certain good things are. And this is the month and the night during which we summon from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the energies to be doing better during the year. For all good that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. Amen. Anybody has any question before we stop, inshallah ta'ala, and we continue next time? Well, this is just we're beginning to enter the month of Ramadan through Sha'ban, and therefore to remind one another little by little. Anyone has any question pertaining to what we said or to the fiqh of Siyam, which we will be covering as well next time? No question? Do you know all the fiqh of Siyam? All of you? Khalas, you are ulama of Sawm. You are fuqaha of Sawm. Now, write epistles. The epistle of Sawm by the muallim, ustadh, teacher, faqih, allama, and you mention your name next to it. That's a good question. Are we supposed to fast? What do you mean by supposed to fast? All right. So supposed to fast, usually that's why I asked you. It means I have to fast. I'm supposed to fast. No, I'm not supposed to fast, meaning I have to fast. No, I don't have to fast. But the 15th of Sha'ban night, don't listen to anybody else after this. And you can verify that. Except to verify what I said. Most of the ulama, rahimahumullah ta'ala, of old, including our salaf, our predecessors, the great tabi'un, for example, like Khalid ibn Mi'dan, like Imam Makhul, these great fuqaha, these are even before Imam Malik and so on. These are the giants of their times, of them, rahimahullah ta'ala, used to. As a matter of fact, there is almost an ijma' that the night of the 15th of Sha'ban is highly praised by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There are weak ahadith, there are mawdu' ahadith, and there are authentic ahadith as well. And there are hasan ahadith as well that do indicate that the night of the 15th of Sha'ban is highly praised. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam identified it in some hadith, like the ones of Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, when he identified for her that night, and he was that night in Qiyam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he mentioned to her that that's the night of the 50th of Sha'ban. He mentioned the virtues of the night of the 50th of Sha'ban. And therefore, there seemed to be also a consensus, like a consensus among the earliest scholars, rahimahullah ta'ala, that you may, and it is recommended, not obligatory, recommended, alhamdulillah, to be in ibadah during this night. And these names that I mentioned, and later on, like the Imam Shafi'i, like Nawawi later, like before them and after them, they all showed special attention to this night and mentioned that it is of a special attention. Yes, we have to be cautious not to misread or not understand properly the text. Yes, it is said in accordance with the ulama of the hadith, there is nothing in the text that teaches that Rasulullah taught a specific ibadah during this night of authentic hadith. They say that, but that doesn't mean there is no ibadah during that night. He simply did not teach a specific ibadah during that night as teaching it verbally. But he, during that night, was in ibadah, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. And it seems, as I'm continuing, there is a sort of a consensus amongst the ulama and the tabi'un and thereafter that it is استحبوا إحياء تلك الليلة بالعبادة لكن ليس جماعة. The point that some ulama have mentioned, that to be in jama'ah in the masjid together in ibadah on the night of the 50th of Sha'ban, some ulama have said it is makruh. It is bid'ah, but bid'ah makruha. Right? But those same ulama say you do ihya of the night of the 50th of Sha'ban individually, that's mustahab. That's good to do. But they differed between them, rahimahullah ta'ala, as to doing ibadah on the 15th of Sha'ban, like fasting, or, doing ibadah on the 15th of Sha'ban, qiyam, together in jama'ah. They differed. Some say it is not mustahab, it is makruh, it is bid'ah in the sense bid'ah makruha. And some say even that is jaiz. Now fasting is part of it. Fasting is individual anyway. We don't say let's fast in jama'ah. There's no such thing as fasting in jama'ah. You fast part of the day, and I part of the day. Fasting is individual anyways. And plus it falls in the month of Sha'ban, and all Sha'ban is good for fasting, as Rasulullah is reported to have fasted during almost all of Sha'ban, including therefore the 15th of Sha'ban. So this is, Allah Ta'ala alam, the middle ground in understanding or in answering that question. Allah Ta'ala alam. All right. Any other question? I know you're looking somewhere. You're looking at the watch and the clock. Yeah. Let's see what does Ramadan teach us of sabr, and whether we like ilm or we like the bed. Whether we have patience to remain sitting for ilm of Allah and His Rasul for 5 extra minutes or 10 extra minutes, or to be agitated inside, and the nafs begins to stir, to boil, and you're ready to scream. This is where we test ourselves. What is this deen teaching us? What is salah teaching us? What is dhikr teaching us? If it doesn't teach us these things, to appreciate ilm, to be patient, to be kind, to be courteous, then we're not doing much. Yes? Now, we should not on purpose fast the last day of Sha'ban, as Rasulullah indicated, unless it is within a regular siyam, supererogatory siyam that we were practicing. But if we wait until the last day of Sha'ban to fast, and that's makruh, or even haram, right? As the text teaches, inshallah. But if we are fasting regularly, and it happens that that's part of that fast, لا بأس. جزاكم الله تعالى خيرا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Remember, we'll continue this series inshallah ta'ala next Tuesday and the other Tuesdays until the end of the month بإذن الله تعالى. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله